So once you've built your model, what can you do with it? Well, you can score each observation with a modeled value using scoring code that Preddle provides by clicking the scoring code link in the GLM menu here. What's given here is code that you can cut and paste into your data manipulation program, such as SAS or even Excel, to replicate all the stuff we've done and score each individual observation with modeled response values. Now, what does it mean when we say to score each observation or each record or each case? It means coming back to the original data that we uploaded. Imagine there was an extra column appended here called scored value or modeled value. The code that we just briefly looked at a second ago and that we'll go through in a bit more detail in a second would basically append onto each of the records here a scored value, like 1.2, 0.4, 3.6, and so on, which is the modeled gambling addiction score based on the characteristics for any individual record here. We saw in the model interpretation video how you can take the age of someone, their race, their highest level attended, all that sort of stuff, and calculate what the modeled gambling addiction score is. The code will basically go through each record and append on an extra column or an extra field called scored value with the modeled value in it. Now, the first thing this code does is it creates the derived or grouped variables from the raw ones. For example, it'll look at largest amount lost, range, and if that value is refused, it will put it in a category that we created called missing. All the grouping that we did manually by clicking the create var button, all that logic that we specified in renaming categories is captured in this code here. The logic in each case is if the raw value is some particular value, then this new variable that we've created should take the value whatever it was that we specified. Then it creates a variable called linear underscore predictor, and it assigns it an initial value, which is equal to the intercept. In this case, the intercept is negative 2.64. And then each line after that adds to or subtracts from this value, this linear underscore predictor value, based on that observation meeting if conditions, like gender equals male, or if highest grade attended equals first through 8th grade or 9th through 11th grade, then linear predictor equals linear predictor plus something. The linear predictor variable acts like a running total. Continuous variables like importance of faith or effects of legal gambling aren't based on if conditions. Rather, they multiply the Likert scale values, or whatever the raw values were, for each particular record, case, or observation, by the beta coefficient. In this case, the beta coefficient is negative 0.00319. Recall that the beta coefficient is the slope of a line with respect to these values. Each 1 unit increase in importance of faith reduces the linear predictor by 0.0031939. In the last line, the linear predictor here is modified by the link function that we chose, or the workspace wizard chose for us, to give the predicted value. In this case, we chose in the workspace settings screen a log link function. So it exponentiates the linear predictor to arrive at the predicted value. We covered exponentiation in the how to interpret a multiplicative model video earlier. Now, this code can be pasted into the statistical software SAS to score the data directly, or it can be adapted to SQL or other languages as needed. If you're good with Excel formulas, you can even use this code in Excel with some slight manipulation. You can score observations in the sample data used to build the model, or score data that the model has never seen, as long as that new data is in the same format with the same column names or variable names as the data that you uploaded. In effect, you are applying the model that you built to predict outcomes, either on existing data or new data. For any survey result, given the set of characteristics about that respondent, their age, their gender, their highest level attended, what does that model predict their gambling score is? This code, after we copy and paste it, applies that model. It's just one caveat. The main thing to check for is variable names with spaces in them. Now, SAS and most other software doesn't actually allow variable names with spaces in them, but Preddle is tolerant of having spaces in it. Now, the data set that we imported did have spaces in the variable names, like highest grade attended, which wasn't actually SAS legal. Now, as a result, this scoring code isn't fully SAS legal either. When you actually use the code, just keep this in mind and change this variable name to whatever the variable name needs to be in your application.